back to my YouTube channel. Today's recipe might just be the most googled and searched for recipe on the internet, at least when it comes to Indian food. Butter chicken is one recipe that everybody wants to know, and if you look at it from a global perspective, when people think about Indian food or Indian cuisine, this seems to be the most popular dish. And that's funny because it's actually not as old or does not have that sort of culinary legacy or heritage that most Indian cuisine or dishes from Indian cuisine have. It's actually a recipe that was invented or discovered as early as 1950. But if you want to know more about that, I would suggest you check out the link in the description below. My detailed blog post has everything. It has the whole recipe, it has the history, the legacy, and any other information you might need. So make sure to check that out. Before we get into the recipe, I want to give a huge shout out to my friend Priyanka because this is actually possible thanks to her. We were talking about butter chicken and she kept insisting on making this amazing recipe, and I didn't have all the crucial ingredients, and she very sweetly gave them to me. You'll see which ones in the blog post and in the video as well. So thank you so much, Priyanka. This recipe is dedicated to you. So before we get started, make sure you are following me on Instagram. I put up all this stuff on Instagram and lots of behind the scenes is great fun. Come, let's chat. And also make sure to subscribe to this channel. Give this video a big fat thumbs up, a nice big like. It always helps us. And of course, please leave me a comment. I love to hear from you. I want to know what you've created, and if you liked this recipe or you didn't like it, all comments are welcome. So without further ado, let's get cooking. So to start with, we'll marinate our boneless chicken in lots of mustard oil, some lime juice, and I've added in some ginger garlic paste. To this, we add in coriander powder, cumin powder, turmeric powder, red chili powder, some garam masala, and then of course lots of dahi or yogurt. Mix it all together, and once it's mixed well, let this marinate together for at least half an hour to 1 hour. If you could do it overnight, nothing like it. Once the chicken has been marinated completely, just take a nice big crock pot, the same pot that you're going to use to make the rest of the butter chicken, and cook up these chicken pieces. I would say do it batch wise so you don't overcrowd the pan. You just cook it for about 10 minutes or 12 minutes in total, flipping it halfway through. I had about 250 grams of chicken, so this took me about 2 or maybe 3 batches to cook. Once it's all done, just leave it aside and get started on your gravy. In a fresh pan, add in some butter. I mean, this is a butter chicken, so you can add as little or as much as you'd like. I think you should be liberal at this point. To this butter, you would add in your peppercorns and your cardamom pods along with all that finely chopped onion. Mix this all well and let it cook along with the cashew nuts and chopped tomatoes. Once it's cooked a little bit, you can add in your cinnamon powder, some red chili powder, cumin powder, and a little more ginger garlic paste. Cook this all together, and if you find that this mixture is starting to dry out, just add a little bit of water at a time just so that all the masalas cook and it helps the onions and tomatoes to break down. This needs a good 15 minutes to cook. I did have a little bit of my marinade from the chicken left over and I didn't want to throw it away, so I've tossed that in as well. You don't have to, but if you have extra, you could do it. Now once the mixture has cooked, this is super important. Please let it cool down completely to room temperature before putting it in a blender to blitz it. If you don't, you're going to have an accident, much like I did. Once you've got your blended gravy, the important thing here is to sieve it through back into the pot that you're going to cook. So I used the same pot which I made the chicken in. I added a little more ghee and then I've strained this entire thick mixture. The idea of calling it a butter chicken is not just because it has oodles of butter, because the gravy is this buttery, velvety, beautiful silky gravy that doesn't have any sediments or mixture. So straining it at this point will give you a wonderfully smooth and beautiful glossy gravy. At this point is where I add in some salt. We haven't salted this at all, so add it in here. People usually like it a little bit sweet and they add in sugar. I do not. I tasted it. I think the tomatoes give it a nice tart and sweet flavor, so I did not add any sugar, but you can if you would like to at this point here. Crush together some lovely kasturi methi and mix it all in with the gravy. It adds a wonderful flavor and it is a crucial ingredient as well. To this, add in all that cooked chicken. Traditionally, this dish is made with leftover tandoori chicken, so if you want to make the chicken a day prior, you can. But if you want to make it fresh, you can do that as well. Just mix it all in together and let this cook for another 3 to 4 minutes. Now, I did mention that traditionally this used to be made with leftover tandoori chicken from the tandoor, so the dish does have a smoky flavor element which we don't have here. So I heat a piece of coal on the flame and then I add that into a steel bowl, and to that steel bowl and heated coal I drop in some oil, and once it starts to smoke I place this bowl into that pot of chicken with the gravy and I cover it with a lid and cook it for another 10 minutes. At this stage, you can add in a little bit of cream. A lot of recipes have some fresh cream. I just thought it was smoky and creamy enough and it didn't need it, so I didn't add it, but you can if you'd like to. And at this point, your butter chicken is completely ready. I just garnished it with a little bit of chopped coriander that I have. You could put more or less if you like. Enjoy this with hot paratha, however you want. This is the final recipe. It's so good. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave me a comment, and I'm gonna see you guys very soon.